Hey everyone, welcome to Two Guys and a Mouse, the show that gives you all the Disney news, tips, and tricks to get you the most out of your Disney vacation. I'm Lance, and we're here with Les, and today we're going to talk about some of the breaking Disney news the week of Thanksgiving 2021, as well as some of the highlights of D23, and all of that is coming up next. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about some of the breaking news that happened down at the Disney parks, as well as go over some of the D23 highlights from this past weekend. So let's start out with annual passes. In a surprise move this week, Disney announced that they have suspended the sale of most of the annual passes except for the Pixie Dust Pass, which is the Florida resident only pass, and it is the most restrictive pass. So there was no reasoning given behind the suspension of the sales, but Les did call it back in September when the annual passes went back on sale. We did see in the fine print that Disney can suspend pass sales at any time for any reason, and it looks like they may have either sold out or suspended annual pass sales as a crowd control measurement. So, that's still to be seen. Les, I was hoping that you would have been wrong on that, but, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, it's like you said, the way that it was written when they started selling passes back in September. I mean, because passes have only been on sale for whatever it is, 10, 11 weeks, and then they stopped again, except for that lowest level pass. I just didn't think it was going to happen this quick. So I think it caught a lot of people off guard, and a lot of people just don't understand why you would sell them and then basically 2.5 months later stop selling them again. I did just see from another YouTuber that his theory was that it was just like you said, it's a crowd control measure for the rest of this year, and that with still allowing that lowest level pass, but it, like you said, is the most restrictive. It has the most blackout or blockout dates of all of the passes. So those users, even if they, or those fans rather, even if they buy that pass, they can't basically go the end of December, and they can't go over Thanksgiving week. So,
or on the weekends for that matter, isn't it?
Or on the weekends, right? So it is truly the most restrictive pass. You can basically only go during the week and not on any holidays. So it would make sense that that's why they would do that.
Right. As an aside, Disneyland has also this week sold out of all of their passes, so they are no longer selling any annual passes at all, according to news outlets. So that's it's just I'm guessing that the popularity of the pass systems, even after all the complaints from the Disney fans, still popular, still selling out, still making money, right? So on that token, also speaking of selling out, this week there are no park passes available or park reservations available for any of the Walt Disney World parks this week. That is Thanksgiving week, and I'm guessing into next week as well. And that's all due to capacity limitations. So, moving forward as we go into the holiday season, I'm going to let all of our followers and fans know, please, if you have any trips planned, make sure you have your park reservations locked in, especially if you have dining. Don't rely on park hopping. Park hopping has been at points in the past. It's been rare, but it has happened where park hopping has been cut off due to capacity limitations. So, make sure if you have a dining reservation, you have a park pass for that day, right? In other news this week, news outlets reported that Splash Mountain has closed most of the day on the 24th for maintenance issues. No word yet as to what those issues were. They've noticed that water was not flowing through the attraction, and that the MDE app did report that the attraction is down temporarily. No word has been given yet as to whether or not this is them taking it down for refurbishment. Although we do know that refurbishments are scheduled to start, there has been no word yet as to whether or not this is the refurbishment starting. So we will keep you posted on the various social media outlets and on the YouTube channel when we find out more. Moving on to the Galactic Star Cruiser. So the Galactic Star Cruiser, back in August, I want to say August, Disney released some footage of a real lightsaber being ignited, and fans went crazy. Unfortunately, they just announced in a press release that the lightsaber is for cast members only, and fans will not be able to use the real lightsaber. So, sorry guys. They still are going to offer lightsaber training. We just don't know in which capacity or which lightsabers will be available for use. So, in a turn of good news, the fireworks are returning to Magic Kingdom for the New Year's Eve celebration, and the Magic Kingdom hours will be extended until 1 a.m. on the 30th and 31st. So if you want to watch the fireworks, please make sure you have a park reservation for that day. I'm going to guess they're sold out, but make sure you have a park reservation. Disney Enchantment has been moved to 6:30 p.m. on both nights, and the Fantasy in the Sky fireworks show is scheduled to start at about 11:50 on both nights. So that's, excuse me, pretty exciting news for that. Again, make sure you plan ahead and have a park reservation. There's different buckets, so if you're staying on property, there's a property guest bucket, a regular ticket bucket, as well as an annual pass bucket. So the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is returning to Hollywood Studios as of December 19th, which is great news. That show has been around, I want to say, since the beginning, when it was called MGM Studios, back when it opened back in 1989, and has been a park staple since then. So exciting news that show is actually coming back, and can't wait to see it.
Yeah, glad to see that one's coming back.
It's been fun
been
show.
Closed ever since pandemic hit, so it's about time.
Right. Yeah. And lastly, Beauty and the Beast celebrated 30 years since its release on November 22nd. So, time flies when you're having fun, I guess. And, happy birthday, Beauty and the Beast. I can't believe I'm that old. So,
yeah,
I remember seeing
amazing
it in a
how
movie
fast
theater.
it goes by. Yeah. I worked in the movie theater when it came out, so it's
that's crazy.
A bit nostalgic.
Nice. And lastly, D23 Live wrapped up over the weekend. That was the 21st and 22nd of November. And Les is going to go over some of the highlights from the convention. In case you guys don't know, D23 is the official Walt Disney fan club. And every year they get together and they do the big convention as well as a couple of other smaller gatherings and events throughout the year. And the big one was D23 Live, which just happened over the weekend, last weekend. So I'll put the dates somewhere up here and in the description below. But Les, take it away, man.
All right. And for anybody who is interested in being a D23 member, they do have basically a free membership that you can join, and you can get some news. It doesn't really get you much else. If you want to do a paid membership, there's a single person membership, which is typically like $100, and there's the gold duo, which is you and another person can both be members and get basically the same benefits. The pin set that you get for joining the membership, you only get one of those if you do the duo plan, and I think that was, I'm probably going to get it wrong here, but it was like $130, I believe, or something like that. And I'm bringing it up now because this time of the year they will actually discount it. So annual pass holders up until a few days ago were allowed to get 30% off, and I think I just saw an email or something come up online within the last few days that if you want the gold duo, it was like $30 or 30% off as well. So usually, again, around Thanksgiving holiday is when you typically see them discount the membership, and the rest of the year you pretty much won't see that. So now's the time to sign up if you're interested. But back to D23 conference. Basically, it was last weekend. It was Saturday and Sunday. Disney uses that as a platform to make some announcements to the general public and their fans about a lot of different things that are on the drawing board or are ready to be opened or released or anything like that. They've used it in the past to announce possible brand new resorts that they wanted to open, anything related to attractions within the parks, anything like that. So basically what I'm going to recap today is some of the highlights that came out of this past weekend's D23. So several major live entertainment experiences will return to Walt Disney World according to what was released. First being Finding Nemo. So if anybody has ever been to Animal Kingdom and you've been over in that section of the park, the Finding Nemo live performance show, I think has always been a fan favorite. I know every time that we go to Animal Kingdom with my family, we always watch it, but it's been closed since the pandemic. Well, it's finally coming back, and it's gonna be slightly different than what it was in its original incarnation before. So it is now gonna be called Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond. And at this time, the movie is set in the timeline of Finding Dory instead of Finding Nemo, which is a cool little twist. And then from the guest perspective, basically the theater that you're in the show is going to be based on the atmosphere that you're in the Marine Life Institute, which if you've seen the movie Finding Nemo, you know exactly what that is. It's where most of the animated picture takes place, is in that setting of this basically aquarium. And that is scheduled to open sometime in 2022, but no kind of narrower timeline or definitive timeline has been given other than 2022. So we'll release more news when that comes out. Another missing piece of live performance has been Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios. And that is also returning 2022. That's the date they've given, nothing more definitive than that. And it's going to incorporate an all-new sequence featuring live performers, stunts, special effects, and more. Again, as details roll out on that, we will bring that news to you. And I have seen pictures online of Disney doing actual construction on the large amphitheater, and so they're definitely working on it to get it ready. Next one is International Festival of the Arts. So Lance and I in past videos have touched on some of the other festivals that occur at Epcot, and I guess this one didn't happen last year. I guess I wasn't really paying attention because I'm typically not in the parks that time of the year, because it's always in January into February. But they're bringing it back to a lot of fanfare. People are very happy to hear that. It's going to be January 14th through February 21st, and then along with that, they're doing what's called the Disney on Broadway concert series, and that's going to be at the American Adventure Amphitheater, which is where they hold all the big concerts and shows like that. And same dates, January 14th through February 21st. And basically this is going to be, they're bringing back like singers who have done some of the really famous songs that have been in a lot of the classics, a lot of the songs that you'll probably know when you hear them. And what they basically released, what the movies, that the songs themselves, who's singing them, and what the schedule is. You can find all that information online on Disney's main site, and then look for Broadway concert series, and you'll find all that information. But basically, it's songs from Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Freaky Friday, which kind of surprised me, The Little Mermaid, Newsies. Newsies was out a long time ago, so that's another oldie. Mary Poppins, Tarzan, The Lion King, and then on the 21st of February, they don't say who the performance is going to be or what it is. It says it's a special appearance on that date. So that will be released at some point by Disney on who that is going to be and what it is. So keep your eyes open for that.
Wouldn't it be cool if they brought Christina Aguilera back to do the Mulan song? You know what I'm talking about?
It wouldn't surprise me.
It'd be kind of cool.
I mean, you never know.
You guys are seeing it here first. I'm
Yeah,
calling it.
yeah. Lance called it.
You wait and see.
I mean, they've got so many famous musicians over the years that have done songs for their various movies, so it really could be anybody. I mean, it'll be interesting to see, though. If they're keeping it a secret, hopefully it's somebody that it was worth keeping a secret over. But we'll see. And when the news drops, we'll also let you know. So moving on to the next piece of news that came out of D23 was Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair. So what this is basically going to be a show at Magic Kingdom. It starts early next year, so early 2022, and it's going to be enhanced for the 50th anniversary. So it's going to be along the lines of all about the celebration of Magic Kingdom and the 50th anniversary, and the characters are going to be in their what they call the iridescent clothing, which is a very like shimmery and sparkly outfits with the color theming that Disney has created for the whole 50th anniversary celebration. And it's going to include sequences inspired by Frozen, Tangled, The Princess and the Frog, plus a new opening and a new finale with Mickey and his friends. And then they created a new song for this friendship fair that is called Where the Magic Feels Like Home. So that'll be interesting to see. No specific date other than early 22, so we'll pass along the information as it drops. Next one is about a new cavalcade. So basically, for anybody who hasn't been to the park since the pandemic hit, Disney did away with all of the usual and the favorite parades. So there's been no parades basically at all up until recently, and the only parade that has occurred recently is the one that's a part of the Christmas celebration after hours event at Magic Kingdom. And from what I've read, that one's got a lot of good reviews. People have really loved it, thought it was great. But as far as like what goes on during the day in Magic Kingdom, there's been no parades at all, but they have these things called cavalcades. And a cavalcade is nothing more than maybe 1 to 3 floats, a lot of cast member performers like dancers and singers and stuff like that, and they're all dressed up in their costumes. And then on the floats are your typical fan favorite characters: Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto, Donald, Daisy, Chip and Dale, and some other characters. But that's basically who's on the floats. The floats change or can change, and the songs change for the cavalcade. They go through multiple times per day, and but they're over really quick. And they like if you stand on Main Street in one spot and watch the show, from the time the first performer passes you to the time the last performer passes you is probably only about 3 minutes, I'm going to say. They're very quick, very short, and they keep them moving along pretty fast. So there's a new one that's coming. It's the Disney Adventure Friends Cavalcade. It's coming out sometime this winter, so actually relatively shortly. And it's going to feature the most characters of any cavalcade that they've had to date, including Nick and Judy from Zootopia, which you normally don't see, Baloo and King Louie from the Jungle Book, Jose and Panchito from the Three Caballeros, which I think is pretty cool, Miguel from Coco, Merida, Moana, The Incredibles, and then among others. So there could be others outside those that we just said. So it sounds like, depending on how many characters they bring out in the cavalcade at any one time, it could be bigger than what they've been doing so far. And we'll see how it goes. You know, a lot of people haven't been fans of the cavalcade because the fans have been clamoring for their beloved parades to come back. And on a side note, it was confirmed now. This is not D23 news, but it came out this week that the Electric Light Parade is officially coming back to Disneyland. We talked about this in a past episode that, you know, a lot of Disney fans were hoping maybe Disney would have brought the Electric Light Parade back to Orlando as a part of the 50th. It would have made sense, and I'm sad that they're not doing it, but they're not doing it. And the reality is that Electric Light Parade is staying in Anaheim at Disneyland, and it's finally coming back there. So they get to see that show. We will have to wait again. So,
or we can just take a trek out to Anaheim.
all right, we could do that too. But
yeah.
But that said, on the other hand, they did announce that the Festival of Fantasy is coming to Magic Kingdom. So that has been gone since the pandemic. It is great to see that it's coming back, and hopefully that will appease many of the fans that have been missing their parades since the parks originally closed and then reopened.
Festival of Fantasy minus the Flaming Dragon.
Well, you know, I don't know. So I don't know if the dragon's coming back or not. For those of you who know what Lance and I are talking about, before the pandemic hit, and they still had the parade going on, there is a large mechanical dragon that is representation of Maleficent, and it shoots flames as it goes along the parade route. Well, in an unfortunate event, the last time that they ran it, it actually caught fire and basically destroyed the dragon. Yeah. So to the point that they couldn't use it anymore. It was just done. So I don't know if were able to fix the original one now, or if this is a whole brand new one. I don't know. Actually, we don't even know that the dragon's coming back, but at least the rest of the parade is. Right. It is a big part of the parade, so hopefully it's there. We'll let everybody know. And but that's coming back early next year. It says includes beloved Disney characters and stories from the Princess Garden to a Carnival of Color, presided over by none other than Mickey and Minnie. So that's pretty about all they've released at this point. But I know if it's anything similar or like it was in the past, I mean, they had a lot of different characters that were in that parade. So, and then last thing is, I take that back. It's not the last thing. Dreamers Point and the Connections Cafe and Eatery at Epcot. So for anybody who's been to Epcot a while ago and then recently, you would have seen that they basically redid the entire front of the park as a part of the entire, not the entire park, but the whole middle section, the entrance all the way in, is basically all being redone. And the front of the park has been done for a little bit now. But they're going to continue to improve on that, and they have this new thing that will be coming out called Dreamers Point. So it's a part of the ongoing Epcot transformation as they reimagine the front of the park and the entry experience. And it's going to be a new area. I don't know exactly where at the front of the park it's going to be, but there's going to be, it says it has a spectacular view of the park, and there is a new statue that will be placed there of Walt himself. So really looking forward to that. If you go online, or we may even have it on the video, there's some artist rendition of what it's going to look like. It should be pretty cool. And then the second piece of that was the Connections Cafe and Eatery restaurant. So they're bringing yet another restaurant to Epcot. We talked about Space 220 on a previous video, which is a restaurant that opened just a few months ago. And I did a review of the food there. So this new one is a quick service restaurant. It's not a dine-in or a sit-down restaurant, as we fans might call it. This is quick service, and it's going to be housed in the former Innoventions East structure. So as you used to come in the park, and you basically went around Spaceship Earth, which is the big sphere. And then on the other side of that, there are a couple of big buildings, like one on the left, one on the right. And a lot of that is what's still under construction. And then the big metal umbrella piece, and then the fountain. So that entire area is still under construction. So that is sometime next year. Again, no definitive date given for that, but you can be on the lookout for that once it's open. Next is Guardians of the Galaxy, a Cosmic Rewind. So that is the new Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Epcot. And I'm anxiously waiting for that to open. They did announce that it's opening next summer. That's the best date that they've given is next summer, but it's better than what they said before, which was nothing. And it will integrate within the experience somehow. It remains to be seen, but somehow they announced that Glenn Close is going to be a part of this ride. So if you remember, Glenn Close was Nova Prime, or the Xandorian leader from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And so she actually did like a really quick video clip of herself. Basically, she was in the full outfit from the movie and had her hair done up just like she did in the movie and everything, and was basically breaking the news that she would be a part of this new ride. So very cool that they're getting big name actors to sign on and reprise roles for experiences like this. I think it makes it much cooler and more authentic. Although I did see a blurb this week that Disney said that this ride is not tied into the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the MCU in any way, which I find a little odd. But on the other hand, maybe they don't want to do that, so as more Marvel movies come out, then the theming or the experience possibly doesn't become stale. You know what I mean? So if it's tied to the movies and now it's, 10, 15 years down the road and so much other stuff has happened in the MCU, and then this doesn't match up to whatever content they're releasing or movies are releasing, I could see where it would be kind of like
it's probably just
downer.
a different storyline, a new storyline, something like that that's completely not tied to the MCU. You know what I mean? Just so that they can keep it kind of separate and do whatever they want with it, and they don't have to stay within, quote unquote canon. Right. It just kind of makes their lives a little bit easy as far as Imagineering and updating the ride and keeping it fresh and up to date. So, I for one, I'm glad that they decided to go with a completely separate ride for the Guardians of the Galaxy ride down in Orlando versus what they did in California, which is, they got rid of Tower of Terror, for the Mission Breakout ride, which I'm sure is, I've not been on it, but I'm sure is a great ride in itself. But, I would be sad if they got rid of Tower of Terror, because that's one of my favorite rides in the Hollywood Studios park.
Yeah, us too. It'd be a real shame to take over such a popular ride. And I was really surprised when I heard that they did that at Disneyland. But the powers that be must have felt that they had a good enough reason to do that there. So, yeah, luckily this is a whole new ride. It's actually the location of the ride is where, now I forgot the name of the ride. It was, Ellen DeGeneres was basically the host of this experience. It was all about energy and how we use energy and where energy comes from and stuff like that, and how to be more responsible with energy. And they basically leveled that whole building and built a brand new building to bring in this Guardians of the Galaxy ride. So they made a huge investment to bring this to us. So lucky for us. Looking forward to it being open. And that's basically it for the news. I mean, one other piece of news that did not come out of D23 that I know a lot of fans were looking for was a opening date for the Tron Light Cycle ride at Magic Kingdom. I think everybody was expecting to hear at least a roundabout opening date for that ride, and there was nothing. Disney was mum on the ride and when it might open, so a lot of fans disappointed about that non-news, as they are anxiously awaiting the opening of that ride too. It looks very cool, and from videos I've seen of the ride, because they have that ride in I think it's Shanghai, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the other parks over in the Far East. They have that ride there already, and I've seen video and it looks absolutely cool. I can't wait to ride it myself. Kind of the same technology that's used for Flight of Passage.
Gotcha.
In Animal Kingdom, where you're kind of like locked into the ride and you can't move, but it's like it kind of fits, because in Flight of Passage you're riding a Banshee, so it's like you're hunched over, almost like you're riding a motorcycle. So I mean, the technology fits for this new ride. So really looking forward to that. And that's about it. Those were the highlights out of D23 this year in 2021. So
Nice. Yeah, I mean, looking forward to all of that. And guys, that's the episode for today. We really appreciate you coming out and spending time with us. Listen, guys, in the comments down below, please let us know if there's anything you'd like us to report on, or if there's anything you'd like us to see or like us to show you. Please let us know in the comments below. Also, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Please make sure you follow us there. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing and turning notifications on. And that way you know whenever we release new content in the future. And it'll also let you know whenever we go live. If you like the video, please drop a like and share it with your friends. It'll really help out the channel. But guys, that's it for today. We really appreciate it. And, you know, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys.
see you, everybody.